the content library. So think of a content library where you can go ahead and populate, or you can go ahead and store your templates, your virtual apps, your ISOs, your OVA, OVFs, and using the content library, you can go ahead and start deploying or start making use of your templates and other things directly from the content library. Creating a content library is very easy. You go to the home, and on the home we have this option that says content libraries. Go ahead and click on content libraries. Now we are on the content library. If I quickly read, it says a content library is a repository for VM templates, virtual apps, and other files such as ISO, images, script. A template is a copy of a VM and can include guest operating system, application, and data. You can also store VApps in content library basically. And once you have created a content library, we can even share with others. As it says, you can create 3 types of library. There is a local content library, which contains files you make available to the vCenter server instance only. There is something called a published content library, which contains file you make available to this vCenter and the other vCenter server instances. And the third type of library is called subscribed content library, which displays the files of a published content library, and you can use them in this vCenter server instance. So that's the beauty. You can create a content library and you can share with others, or if somebody has created their content library, they can publish those content library for you and you can subscribe to those content library. So let's go ahead and create our first content library. So to create a content library, we have this getting started in objects tab. Go to the objects tab. Within the objects tab, we have this option that says create a new content library. So simply go ahead and click on this content library. And we are being asked to specify a name for this content library. So let me just go ahead and call it my content library. You can go ahead and specify notes. The vCenter that you're making this available to is 23.3. Now, once everything looks good, just simply go ahead and hit next. Now on this page, we are being asked to specify the type of the library that we plan to create. Is it a local content library, is it a subscribed content library, or what kind of library is this? So in this case, we will go ahead and say, okay, hey, this is a content library, as well as we will go ahead and publish this content library to others also. So in this case, we'll say, okay, hey, go ahead and publish this library. And we went ahead and selected this checkbox. If you had another library and if you're planning to subscribe, you can always select this one and specify the URL for that one. So we'll work with the local content library, but at the same time, we will publish our content library. Now just go ahead and simply hit on this page. Now we are being asked to provide a storage here. So in the storage, we can go ahead and select the data store that we want to be potentially used for storing the content. So let's go ahead and select a data store. So we have a couple of data stores. So let me go ahead and pick this LUN one, or we can go ahead and select our NFS or any other LUN which is available to us. So in this case, I'll go ahead and pick my LUN one. Now just simply go ahead and hit next here. And as you can see, the name of the library being served on this particular one. This is a local content library and it's being published. And it's been that data will be stored on this particular data store, which is LUN1. Now just simply go ahead and click finish. And once that's done, you can see our content library was just created. The type is local. Is it published, and some of the information. You can go ahead and click on the content library and go through and take a look at some of the details in terms of summary. You can go ahead and if you need to configure any other things. And as you can see, this is the subscription URL. If somebody is interested in subscribing to our library, we can provide them this URL and they can go ahead and subscribe. If there are any templates, we can go ahead and see them. If you recall, we had just created a template. So now let's go back to our VMs and template. And now we will go ahead and create a copy of that template. And we will store this template inside our content library. Doing that operation is very easy. Go back to your template, right click on your template, and within the template on this menu we have a couple of options, and one of the options says clone to library. So let's go ahead and simply click on clone to library as the option. Now clone to library template, now we are being presented as, okay, hey, clone as verify. In this case we are selecting as a new template because this is our new template. And what will be the template that we want this to go under? This will be our content library name. So we are saying, okay, hey, this is the content library that we would like to use. And now we are being asked to specify a name for this template. We can go ahead and keep the same name, or we can go ahead and specify a different name. So I'll just add here library just to signify, okay, hey, this is the template sitting inside my library. If you need to preserve the MAC address of your network adapters or anything, you can go ahead and select those checkboxes. In this case, I don't want to preserve because anytime I deploy new VM, I want to have new MAC address being generated. So once everything looks good, just simply go ahead and hit OK. So we just selected new template, selected our content library, specified a name, and now everything looks good. Just simply go ahead and click OK. So as you can see, now the copy process or the cloning process of this template is being done and is being stored into our LUN1 that we had specified, and it could just take few minutes. And once this is done, we will come back. So our cloning just got over to the content library. Now we can go ahead and confirm the same thing by going back to the content libraries. Let's go ahead and select our content library. But before I go ahead inside, you can see it says right now there is one in the template, shows count being 1 and storage being used is 22.57 gig. Now let's go ahead and click on our content library, and we can click on templates, and within a template shows, okay, hey, there is one template inside our content library. Now using this template from the content library, we can go ahead and deploy the VM just like we did the VM deployment earlier from our previously created template. So simply go ahead and again, you can right click on this one itself and you can say, okay, hey, new VM from this template. The only difference is this time we are creating a VM where the template is sitting inside our content library. So the process is pretty much same. Let's go through that one time pretty quick. Now go ahead and specify the name for your VM. Let's call it VM5. We want this VM to go under our dev VMs folder. A resource, we can go ahead and select a resource. Let's say in this case, we want this VM to go on host number 44. So let's select 44. Simply go ahead and hit next here. It's validating some of the details. Now let's review some of these details. Everything looks good. Just simply go ahead and hit next here. Now go ahead and select the storage that we plan to use. So in this case, I'll select my storage, which says LUN1, and I will go ahead and change this time from thick to the thin provision, and simply go ahead and hit next on this page. Now go ahead and select the network. There's the source network, the destination network. If you want, we can go ahead and select a different network if one is available on this host. On this host, the only network available is VM network, so I'll just select that one and simply go ahead and hit OK. Simply go to here, click next, review some of the details in terms of the IP allocation and other things, and once that's done, just simply go ahead and hit finish. Now we just started deploying a VM from the template which is sitting inside our content library. So let me just increase the size of our recent task so we can see, as you can see, the VM5 is being right now deployed and the contents are being fetched from our content library. If I go ahead and switch the view to VMs and template, we should see under the dev VMs a VM5 being deployed right now, and it's going to take a few minutes. Once this is done, we'll come back. Our VM deployment just got completed. As you can see, the status kind of indicates that done. And now you can go ahead and power on the VM and do anything with this VM. Process was very similar when we created a VM from our regular template versus the template stored into a content library.